It was a cold November night in 2022 in the small town of Moscow, Idaho. The atmosphere there was usually calm and peaceful. Students from the University of Idaho spent their days in classes and their nights at parties, filling the quiet town with youthful energy. But on the night of November 13, that peace was about to shatter forever. That night, four friends gathered in an off-campus rental home: Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. All were between 20 and 21 years old. They were laughing, chatting, eating, just another typical weekend evening. No one knew that within a few hours, that very house would become the scene of one of the most infamous murder cases in modern American history. Around 2 a.m., Kaylee and Madison were seen at a nearby food truck, laughing as they ordered late-night snacks. A security camera captured them alive for the very last time. Afterward, they returned home. At the same time, Xana and Ethan, who were dating, had already come back from a party. In the basement, two other roommates were asleep. By 11 a.m., a 911 call came in. The caller said, "Someone's unconscious." When police arrived, what they saw froze them in place: four young bodies, lifeless and drenched in blood. This wasn't a robbery, and it wasn't a random attack. It was precise, calculated, silent. There were no signs of forced entry. The door was locked from the inside. All four victims had been stabbed multiple times. Yet, not a single neighbor reported hearing screams or commotion. It was as if the killer knew exactly where each victim was and exactly when to strike. At first, police had no solid leads. Social media exploded with rumors. Some speculated it was a jealous ex-boyfriend. Others said it was a party gone wrong. But investigators had one clue: surveillance footage showing a white Hyundai Elantra repeatedly passing through the neighborhood that night. The car changed everything. Police announced they were searching for it, and soon found one that matched, owned by a 28-year-old man named Bryan Kohberger. He was a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University, studying the psychology of criminals. Ironically, the student of killers had become one himself. Bryan's personality shocked everyone: quiet, intelligent, socially distant, yet highly observant. But when investigators pulled his cell phone and vehicle data, the truth unraveled. For weeks before the murders, his phone had pinged multiple times near the victim's house, as if he was tracking their routines and studying their movements. On the night of the murders, his phone was turned off for nearly 3 hours, precisely the window when the killings occurred. When it was turned back on, he was miles away from Moscow. Even more damning, tire tracks matched his car, and DNA from a knife sheath found at the crime scene was linked directly to him. On December 30, 2022, Bryan was arrested while driving home with his father. The FBI pulled him over mid-journey. He remained calm, eerily calm, as if convinced he wouldn't be caught. But when investigators searched his apartment, they found gloves, receipts for a combat knife, and chilling internet searches like "how to commit murder and not get caught." In court, Bryan pleaded not guilty, but the evidence was overwhelming: the DNA match, cell phone records, surveillance videos, and footprints near the victims' rooms. As a criminology student, he knew how to plan a perfect crime. But he forgot one truth: there is no such thing as a perfect crime. The case dominated national media. Every TV station, YouTube channel, and Reddit thread obsessed over one question: why did Bryan do it? Some experts believed he became so consumed with studying killers that he wanted to experience murder himself. Others thought it was about power and control, a twisted desire to prove his superiority. But perhaps the real reason will never be known. The autopsy revealed the victims died within seconds. The knife wounds were so deep and swift that they likely didn't have time to scream. Kaylee and Madison were found together on the same bed, suggesting the killer saw them as a single target. Investigators also found a military-style knife sheath at the scene, identical to those used by the U.S. Marine Corps. DNA from that sheath matched Bryan's genetic profile with near certainty. During trial, Bryan's defense argued that the evidence was circumstantial, but the court ruled that DNA is scientific evidence, the strongest kind. The trial is still ongoing, But for true crime followers around the world, this case has become a chilling mix of intelligence, horror, and cold-blooded violence. It left haunting questions behind. Can education protect a person from darkness? Did Bryan kill out of academic obsession or pure evil? Or was it the hidden shadow of humanity breaking free at last? Since that night, Moscow, Idaho, has never been the same. The house was eventually demolished to erase the trauma, but the memories remain of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan, 4 young lives stolen in the dark. And Bryan Kohberger, a man who came to study crime, but ended up becoming a permanent chapter in its history. They say sometimes a killer doesn't just murder others. They bury their own humanity too.